The forest floor was a blur of green and brown. My lungs were on fire. Every snapped twig behind me sent a new wave of terror through my body. I had no idea who they were or why they were chasing me, but I knew one thing for sure. If they caught me, it would be bad. And to think, it all started just 10 minutes earlier with the rock whistling past my head. You always hear about how safe Germany is, and honestly, it's mostly true. Violent crime is very rare. I was 19 on my second trip to the country. I had completely bought into the sense of security. Back in the US, as a black man, I learned early on, always watch your back. Always know what's around you. But out in the quiet, idyllic German countryside, I let that all go. That day, I was out for a long jog. The path wound through this dense, beautiful forest. It looked like something straight out of a fairy tale. Sunlight cut through the trees. The only sounds were birds and my own breathing. I was miles away from town, totally alone, completely at peace. I felt invincible out there, wrapped up in the quiet of the woods and Germany's safe reputation. That was a mistake. I was close to the end of my run. I slowed down to a walk to catch my breath. Then something zipped past my ear, a sharp whistle. Smack! It hit a tree just ahead of me. It was a rock. I whipped around, my heart hammering against my ribs. About 50 yards back, there were 3 men standing on the path. They were laughing. You could tell by their stance and their shouting they were drunk. My mind started racing. I'm a 6-foot black man alone, obviously not from around here. There were 3 of them, and they were unpredictable. All my life I've been taught how to de-escalate situations like this. Don't engage. Don't show fear. Do not escalate. My German was okay, but this was not the time to test it. I made a split decision. Turn around. Just walk away. Don't run. Just walk. I put my head down. Fake some confidence I definitely didn't feel, and I kept going toward town. I just needed this to be over. After a minute, felt like an hour, I risked a peek over my shoulder. My blood ran cold. They were following me. They were walking casually, almost swaggering, but they were definitely closing the distance. And they weren't laughing anymore. A knot of dread tightened in my stomach. I started walking faster, a fast power walk. I looked back again. Now, they were jogging. Then I heard it. The thud of their footsteps getting faster, closer. Panic hit me like a tidal wave, blinding, all-consuming fear. I broke into a dead sprint. My lungs, already tired, were screaming. I felt my legs. They felt like lead. Adrenaline was the only thing keeping me moving. The forest that felt peaceful just minutes ago now felt like a trap. The trees themselves seemed to close in on me. The sounds of them chasing me were deafening. The crunching leaves, the snapping branches, their heavy breathing. I wasn't being followed anymore. This was a little bit more. My mind was all over the place. Getting caught was definitely not an option. Through the trees on my left, I saw the ground drop into a steep, muddy hill. It wasn't a path. It was almost vertical, roots, loose dirt. But at the time, I felt that it was my only option. Without thinking, I veered off the trail and threw myself down the embankment. I was sliding more than running, grabbing tree trunks and roots just to stay upright. I could hear them still shouting from the path above me. Were they following? I didn't dare to look back. I kept scrambling, hands raw, clothes tearing. Finally, my feet hit solid ground. I stumbled onto the asphalt of a quiet residential street. I didn't stop running until I was under streetlights and surrounded by houses. The warm lights felt like a shield against the dark woods. The second I felt safe, the adrenaline vanished. The full weight of what happened crashed down on me. I collapsed on the curb, gasping for air, sobbing, shock, exhaustion, pure fear. It all came pouring out. People stared at me, but nobody came over. I was just this big, disheveled black man crying on the sidewalk. Maybe I looked more threatening than hurt. That feeling of being an outsider, it had never felt so real. For years, I'm 38 now, I buried the memory. It was too much to think about. A dark stain on my travels to Europe. I didn't really face it until my brothers brought this up years later after my last video where I bragged about the difference between Germany and America. For them, it was still relevant. They still worry about me in Germany, even though I tell them all is great. They never got past it. They couldn't, because this was the first instance where no matter what they did or what they wanted to do, there was no way that they could protect their little brother. I was so far away. Even if they could have gotten the fastest plane in the world, it still would have been hours before they could even came close to finding out where I was. And having two older brothers that are very protective and knowing their younger brother who, like I said, I wasn't small, but they couldn't help me. And so when I made this last video all about Germany and America, and I was talking about how good I am doing here and how successful I quite made it, they quickly had to remind me, Justin, do you remember this time? Because we haven't forgotten it. And I still would say Germany is quite safe, but I have to tell this story because it did happen to me. A place where I felt 100% safe. I got chased. I came back because I wanted to prove that it didn't get to me. And I survived. I'm doing great. But that doesn't erase what happened. I just got to tell that story. Bad things can happen to you. I was lucky I was faster than them. I was lucky that I was still had my head on straight. Some people told me that maybe I overreacted. I don't know. But having 3 people chasing me, it didn't seem like it was an overreaction. I can't think of any other reason why people would chase and run after someone. I can't think of any reason why someone would throw a rock. Have you ever had a moment where your gut screamed at you, something is wrong? If you have, share it with me in the comments, for these stories do matter. And if you want more true stories like this, hit like and subscribe. Oh, I have plenty. Good ones and a couple of bad ones. That day taught me a very hard lesson. No matter where you are in the world, no place is 100% safe. Germany is incredibly safe, but my experience was a brutal reminder. Safety is not guaranteed. Always be aware of your surroundings, even in the most peaceful places. Trust your gut. This story is rare, but it's proof. Danger can pop up when you least expect it. It changed me, not by making me more scared, but by making me more mindful. And that is a lesson I'll carry for the rest of my life. I just had to share my story. I wouldn't have been 100% accurate if I didn't share this story. The good, the bad, and the ugly of my times of traveling through Europe. But that was 19 years ago. Since then, it's been really, something like that has not happened again. But how many bad experiences do you need? Hopefully that's the last one that I will ever have like that. With that, Justin Banks signing off. Peace.